Hi everyone, a big warm welcome from me, Carol here at Oak House Journals, and thank you for joining me today and spending a little bit of time with me. So today I thought I would just do a quick show of the second tag I've done for the 52 week tag project or challenge, and if that is completely new to you, then please look in the description box down below, because I've put the link down there which will explain everything to you. As I've said in my previous video for week one, I'm not absolutely to the letter of the law following the prompts that Anne is setting each week. And I don't think Anne expects us to do that from what she said when she first set out to do the challenge. What I plan to do is, by the end of the 52 weeks, I plan to have 52 tags that I can use in the projects that I'm actually working on now or planning to do throughout the year. I know with Anne, what she's planning to do is have 52 pieces of slow stitching or hand embroidery that she attaches to a cardboard tag. Mine may be like that, but more likely they're going to be fabric tags. But it just depends on how the weeks progress and where my head is. The other thing is I will follow Anne's prompts if they tie in with my projects, but if not, then I'm not going to do that. What I'm planning to do is, as I say, just have 52 tags at the end of the year. That's enough of a challenge for me by far. So this is my second week tag, and if you've seen Anne's tag for week 2 and this, you may well think that they're absolutely nothing alike, but they are. Honestly, they are. I actually have used quite a few of Anne's prompts in this one. Anne used fabric that was red, white and blue. Well, I've used white and blue. I've used the same stitches that Anne has used to create my tag, and Anne used a heart as her focal point. And I've done all of that in this little tag, even though it doesn't look anything like Anne's. So let me quickly show you. I may occasionally throughout the 52 weeks do a little bit of slow stitching on camera for you, but trust me, I'm so slow that it would be like watching paint dry, honestly. This tag, believe it or not, took me all day yesterday to complete, so you know, I can't rattle these off in an hour or two like Anne or some of you other very talented and creative ladies. It takes me a lot longer, so I'm not going to bore you with that, but occasionally I might do some slow stitching on camera. So let me very quickly just run through how I've created it and show it you in more detail. So for this one, this was week 1, which was white on white. As I showed in the video, I used an old tray cloth, or actually it wasn't a tray cloth, it was a cloth off my mum's dressing table, and I chopped it up into 4 pieces, and this is the only piece that I have left, so it's calling at me to create another tag, isn't it, really? So I used this as my base, and effectively I lined it inside with a piece of wool felt. I prefer wool felt to synthetic felt just because it has a nicer feel, and it gave me quite a floppy, flexible tag last week. Now, whilst I'm happy for a couple to be like that, I probably will want more rigidity in my future tags. But I did the same process for this one. So I used a piece of the tray cloth, I turned a border, put my felt inside, and then what I did was I couched all the way round the edge on the open sides to make a little padded tag. So I've just hand stitched all the way round. And I know somebody asked me last week what thread I was using. I like to use Gutermann thread. So I'm just using this Gutermann's white. This is colour 800, which is basic white, and it's 100% polyester, so it's fine enough. That's exactly what I want when I'm playing around with this material. So by doing that, closing up that outside edge and across the top, it left me with lace down two sides. So then I put a piece of lace all the way down my left hand side. As you can see, this lovely lace here, absolutely gorgeous. I love it, and this is what it looks like on my card. How lovely is that? It's really delicate, and I put a piece all the way down that left hand side, and again I couched it down with hand stitching. Then I had a piece of appliqué which I put over the top and couched that down, and then because I had a little bit left over from last week, I put a little bit at the bottom, and the reason I did that was I wanted to balance it out with these two floral appliqué pieces that I put at the top. Now these pieces were left over from one of the other tags that I was playing with last week, and I didn't want it to go to waste. I wasn't planning to do this arrangement for my topper on my tag, but that's what I ended up doing. As you can see, the lace behind it, if I just pull that, if I turn it over, that's better. The lace behind it is the same lace as down the side here, and the reason for that is that if you look at the length of the piece that I have here, there, you can see that there is extra at the top here. Now, once I turned in about 1 centimetre to create my hem at the top, it did leave me with a strip, which was just enough for me. There we go, the two pieces of lace there was just enough for me to create a little piece up there. And for that, all I did was I used about 1 centimetre of the fabric strip that was left over, turned it over and doubled it, and then stitched it onto the top of my tag. And then I put these two appliqué pieces on top and couched those down. So all that stitching, very simple to do, but it takes forever because I didn't want any of it to show. For my heart, I had this heart already in my stash. It did have a bow on the top, which I think I got still. Here we go. It had that bow on the top and a big pearl, and I didn't like that. I thought that was too fussy, so I took it off. And I couched down this blue fabric. I just hand tore that from a piece that I had in my stash. Now, these tags will go into an heirloom journal that I'm working on. I think I've mentioned that before. This piece of blue was an old piece of bedding linen that my mum had and that she passed on to me. So I used a lot of it last year when I was making a locker hook rug for a Christmas make for a friend of mine, and oh god, that really does eat up fabric. So I ended up chopping up this old sheet that I've had in my stash since the word year dot. But this sheet must be at least, well, crikey, I would say 40 years old, and it is just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And I only have now a small bit left over, but it was the perfect colour for what I wanted. I originally was going to use this heart here, and when I put it on the backing, it was just completely lost. But I loved how delicate the blue on it was, and obviously the background was white as well, so I thought that would be lovely, and I was going to couch that down and use it, but I decided against that at the end of the day, and I will use that in another project, so it's not going to be wasted. So I ended up using this heart. So I did some I don't know what this stitching is called, but it's where you do, I'm not sure the camera's even picking that up, is it? You can probably just see that I've done it 2 rows round the edge of that piece of fabric. And I know Anne did it the whole length of her pieces, and it's, you just do straight lines, straight stitches and straight lines. For some reason, I find that so hard to do, to get it even, and I really, really must practice more of that. So after I think it was about 4 attempts to doing about that much of the blue, it looked awful. Even though it was going to be covered over with this hard, I gave up. I went away, washed the little piece of fabric, pressed it, and then just did two rows round the outside. I just thought, well, that'll have to do for this week. So that's probably one explanation as to why it took me so long to make this tag. But I do need to give that a bit more practice. And then here I've just layered up some different, some of the fabric from here, a tiny little piece under this, and then put some gorgeous tulle underneath it. And then these 2 little tags and a mother of pearl little flower shaped button. And if you're wondering about the dates, well, they're the dates of my mum, when she was born and when she died. And then this also was one of the pieces that she used to have on her dressing table, and it was just a little mat that she used to have a glass dish on. And I decided I was going to use this in another tag, but I quite like the idea of using it as a flap here. And using it in its entirety, because I just think that is beautiful. I loved it. Plus it kind of gave a little secret element to that. And then, because I want this to be an heirloom journal, but I also want it to tell the tale of my mum, I want to hold photographs and documents in here, but not to do them in a very obvious way. So for the back part of my tag, I couched all the way around the outside here up to this point, and then this piece up here, as you can see, if I come around that side, that might be better. As you can see, that's a pocket, and this is Mum's birth certificate, so that's going to just tuck in there and be kept for posterity. But I just thought that was quite a nice way to have it incorporated in the journal. As it is. Some of the pieces I may well stitch in and use as pages and things like that, but that's how I wanted that piece to go. So I now have these 2 tags to go in my heirloom journal. And you also saw last week, you saw this one sort of in progress. I'd got some ideas, and this is how it's finished up. Again, I've used the same. If I flip it over, you can see I've used the same process using this tray cloth with felt inside, made a little pouch. The appliqué I've used down the side and along this bottom edge. Then I've put a layer of contemporary lace down this side. This is an image, as I mentioned last time, of my mum with a big teddy bear that is a family treasure. I put a little bit of that tulle under a word there and an offcut of the appliqué up there. And then I've put an eyelet in the top there. So there's no, as you can see, this is machine stitched round Mum's picture. There's no hand embroidery on here in terms of stitches other than to couch everything down. And then on the back I've got a little tag here, and I am going to write on details of when that photo was taken. I was kind of thinking of finding a little bit of script and maybe making a little script pocket. The jury's out on that at the moment. I'm not quite sure what to do. I'll come back to that at some stage in the future. So I just thought I would share those 3 little finished tags with you now, and as I say, week 1 and week 2. All right, everybody, so thank you so much for letting me share my tags with you, and I hope you're not too frustrated that I'm not following Anne to the letter of her prompts, but I think it's art, and art is open for interpretation, and I'm sure Anne wouldn't be miffed in the slightest, just so long as we're playing along with her, which is what I'm doing. So thanks so much, everybody, again. Take care, and if you're taking part in the challenge, I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Bye bye now, everybody. Bye bye.